Dolly is. He's going to get at bats. Josh is going to hit off some minor leaguers in a separate game where he can just keep jumping in there. And tomorrow you'll see Garcia, all goes well, he'll DH in the A game.
And is Josh kind of just to see how he feels today and take it from there type of thing?
Yeah, he's just not able to run yet. I mean, very, very lightly, so that's why he's not game ready. But pretty close. So, I can't give you a day, but he's swinging really well right now. He took live BP yesterday. He'll hit face live pitching, and then I could see him in a few days probably DHing some.
Do you have any expectation to see Seeker at all here?
I'm hopeful. Be honest, I don't know for sure. I talked to him just briefly today, but he caught the flu. That kind of probably slowed things down just a hair. But we'll see where we're at the end of this week. So it's going to be close whether he will, get in some action here or not. Now I'll say this with Corey. We saw this last year when, he's out for 5 weeks, and we were thinking, okay, rehab a game or two, and took some live BP, and he was in the lineup the next day. So you never know with him.
What do you want to see out of Owen White today to start?
Owen's been throwing the ball well. He really has. He's spinning it well. The velocity's been there, 94, bumping 95. Good command. I like the way he's throwing this spring. Last spring was, a little rough for him. So I just want him to carry that into today's game. Throw strikes with all 4 pitches. That's what he is, a starter, but he's also a possibility to use out of the pen as we did last year.
How good is it to see his velocity tick back up?
And it's been good. It really has. You know what? He's come in camp in good shape. I can't say better shape than last year, but it certainly looks it. As I have watched him pitch and just get around, so that's a good thing. I think he's determined to get back to where he was.
We've been talking about him a ton this spring, but what have you seen out of Grant Anderson, and what does kind of his path look like?
I've seen a guy that's really thrown the ball great. He's worked on a couple things. That's especially, I'm talking about facing lefties. He's running it up and in, the change up, to make him a bit more effective against the lefties, but he can sink it. He's a tough matchup for lefties and righties now, I think, because he comes from a different angle, so it gives you a different look, and he's got more velocity than you think. He's throwing 92, 93 down there, and he's been higher than that at times, so it's been a good spring for him.
Bruce, when you play as late as you guys did, is the biggest difference in spring training maybe like workload? I mean, how do you approach now that guys know just how long the season can be?
Yeah. We have talked about that. Do we have to make adjustments? I guess I'm lucky to have some experience there, and you may watch it a little bit, and when I say a little bit, okay, will your starters be ready to go 6 or 5, to start the season? That's what you weigh, as far as getting these guys ready. But I just think you got to be ready for the season. So I don't know how much you can change, because if you slow play them now, April's a big month, and we're getting some really nice rings coming up because we had a good April last year. We got off to a good start, so you got to remind yourself of that, and it's important that we are ready. We do have some guys on the men, but that's going to be a while. Talking about Scherzer in June, and Malley in July, and DeGrom hopefully into July or August. But meanwhile, we got to have our starters do a nice job, so it's important that we get them ready. So I'm not really watching a workload. I don't think Mike feels. I think Mike, we've talked about it, he feels the same. So we're going to have these guys ready to go when the bell rings.
Coach, CY said a couple of weeks ago that Evan might see time at all 3 outfield spots in camp. If that is the plan, what's the thought process, particularly to get him some work in right field?
Well, when you look at our options that we are looking at now, and in particular, Wyatt Langford, who's been playing a lot of left field. Well, we got Leo and Leote in center field. Well, that would, if we're going to DH Doley, then that puts Carter in right field. So we just want to keep all the options open on these guys. I don't plan on moving Garcia in the center. I like to keep him in right field, and we have some center fielders. We have 3 with Carter and Jankowski to go with Tavares. But we like to keep the flexibility on Carter, because as we break camp and see where we're at as far as our outfield situation, for example, Durant could get action in left field. Well, that could put Carter out there too. So anyway, just keeping those options open.
When you look at that situation, and if Langford's gonna hit like he's apparently gonna hit, are you fine? You've got 4 outfielders you wanna play, so you play 3 in the outfield and 1 DHs, and you kind of rotate them in some sort of fashion?
Yeah, I would be fine. Before we leave camp, I'd like to give all the candidates some action at the DH role. It's adjustment. I think we saw last year, drop off in numbers with guys who were DHing. And I'll just mention Garver. He was struggling at first, and he said, he admitted he's more comfortable when he's playing, but then he got adjusted to it, and he was one of the best DHs. So, it takes some adjustments on the hitter's part. So I'd like to have them all DHing at some point, which we kind of started. Even Marcus, you've seen DH, and Nate Lowe is DHing. So I'm going to try to mix that up.
Wyatt Langford, obviously the power has been impressive, but he's known also for being really smart at the plate. What have you noticed of that, especially for such a young hitter early on?
Exactly what you're talking about. He is. First of all, he's a smart hitter, but he's a very disciplined hitter. But he gets a good swing off. He swings with intent. He looks to do some damage. What I've liked about him is the struggles in the early part of the spring. It wasn't facing him at all. He went about his business in the same way, carried himself in the same way. It didn't change a bit. You saw no sense of panic. And here's a kid that really is in his, just signed in his first full year of professional baseball. That, in big league camp, I'm sure he was trying to make a good first impression, but it wasn't phasing him at all. And you saw what he's done the last couple of games. So that's what I like about him. You got to have that ability in a bounce back, deal with a little adversity, and he's shown that in early go.
Is it good to write Garcia's name on the lineup card again?
It is. It is. You know what? He's been getting some, live BP, and he's been swinging it well. He played in B game yesterday, DHing, but to have him in the A game, it's going to be good to see him out there. His presence, in the lineup. So we'll start working him in slowly as a DH, and it won't be long before he'll be playing some right field. But it's good to have him in that cleanup hole. These guys are starting to get healthy. Josh Jung is not far away. He's been getting his at bat, so I see him DHing in a few days too.
Do you obviously he's playing today, but you're pleased with where Garcia's at physically right now?
I'm really surprised how well he is swinging the bat, considering he hasn't played in any games. But you watch him live hitting, he's been very focused, getting ready for the season, even though he can't go out. Well, he could go out and play right field, but we're just slow playing him. But, he's throwing out some good ABs. Yesterday, you saw him in the B game, and he's swinging well right now. And, even though it was a B game, it was just impressive how those guys went about their business. Nate was all business focused. Those guys did a good job yesterday.
Bosky just seems to keep hitting. He had a few really hard hit doubles yesterday in the B game. I mean,
Right.
we've asked you a few times about him, but it just seems like every time he plays, he's hitting the ball pretty hard. What have you been seeing from him lately?
Same thing. He had a good spring last year, and he's swinging the bat well. You know, like most hitters, a little slow early, trying to get his timing, but you can see he's got that now, and he's driving the ball. So we're going to mix him in at first base too, along with second base and DH. Just continue to give his at bats and see how this plays out. But he's, he can hit. He's when he's up there, you have a lot of confidence he's going to do something. And we get some pretty good candidates. Krim too. Not to get off, but Krim's been swinging the bat well.
I know first base isn't Bosky's natural position, but what have you been seeing from him defensively over there, in the backfield? And
I haven't seen him much, Kennedy, but yesterday the high chopper made a play, made a good throw to second base, so he looked comfortable over there. I had to leave the game and go to the A game, but I hope to see a little bit more of it over there at first base. I think he's going to be fine there.
How confident do you feel with Blaine Krim at first base?
Yeah, Grimmer's been doing a good job there. He's like all of us, we can get better, but he's worked hard on his defense. A lot's talked about his hitting, and one area where he needed some improvement. I think that's fair to say, and I think he's been doing a good job. Both he and Foscue, those are nice right-handed bats to have, and so it's going to be some tough decisions here at the end.
I want to ask you something about the just-in-case guys that you're bringing over to put in the bullpen, to help you manage your big league guys' pitch counts, finish innings, so you don't have to roll them over. Like, aside from helping you out to keep your pitching in order for that day, obviously for a guy like Robbie Alstrom, I think came into a game for you last week, was traveling with you again today, big opportunity for a kid like that to pitch in that setting, in front of the big league staff and so forth. Fair to say?
Yeah, it's first of all, it's got to be exciting for them to come over here. So we do try to bring over guys that we think can help us. I'm talking about at some point during the season, and these kids I think have been doing a good job. You saw yesterday they pulled it out how hard they played, and they're doing some good things over here. We get reports on them, and when we get them, they tell us, who we're getting, and so I have no problem putting them in. That's what we're doing. We're throwing them in the fire, and I like the way they've been handling it. A lot of these games, you see the W's is because of those guys, and the job that they're doing.
Danny Duffy threw the ball pretty well yesterday. What have you thought about
I'm sorry?
Danny Duffy, what have you thought about?
Yeah, Duff mixed it up. Good changeup too. He's spinning it well, and fastball. It's 90, 91 in that area. So he's learned how to pitch like that. He's made adjustment by using all his off-speed pitches. But good job for him. I think he threw 27, 28 pitches. But we had to get 4 outs for him. But he got through it. He's been doing a nice job.
Is his best role if he makes the team as a reliever?
Yeah. Yeah, at least that's right now our thinking. A guy that can give us multiple innings down there, 2-3 innings. Play winter ball. I mean, he's worked hard to get back to where he's at now, and so it's just cool to see, his desire to get back on the field and how hard he's worked, and he gets after it, with his preparation, as working out.
Does that seem like a long time ago, seeing him in the World Series?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we saw him one game. We had no chance. I'll never forget. He was 98, and he's really a special arm there. And again, that's why I love watching guys like him that are trying to get back on the field and how hard they're working to get there. But that was 10 years ago. That was a long time, wasn't it?
Coach, I'm sure you're excited to have Travis Jankowski back in the Rangers clubhouse. Just a great guy all around. What are the most important aspects he brings to this team?
Well, he brings so many different things to a club. He's a manager's dream, really. I mean, use him off the bench, to get a bunt down, steal a base. You start him. He gives you just great at bats. A very good defensive player. But the intangibles too. He's a great teammate. He's very popular in that clubhouse, and you love the fact that he accepts his role. He loves it. He thrives on it. And that's what's made him so good at it. A lot of guys, they have a hard time adjusting to that, but he's good with it and loves it, and he loves trying to help guys out. I go back to we talked about Carter's catch in Houston. Well, that was Jankowski and Robbie helping him out around that area. That can be tricky there. So it's just the guy that he is, and I love the fact he came back because he loved it here. He probably had a little bit more out there, but he wanted to come back here and be a Ranger, and so that's pretty cool.